This is what baffles me by those who are opposed to Black economic empowerment. I say, what do you want to see happening? Do you want to see Black people continuing to play the role of laborers, drawers of water, hewers of wood, and consumers only? Why can't Black people be made to own productive aspects of life? Why can't they be rich as well? That is what needs to happen. Because it is when they get to that level. Dr. Mulder, you look at the Afrikaners, the history of your people. If you look at the history of your people, they were held back by the English. And with later days, they were enabled. They became more and more economically empowered.
NCO Dube, a political economist, businessman, and social commentator, has stated that the white genocide lie is apartheid nostalgia. South Africa stands at a defining moment caught between the lingering shadows of apartheid and the unfulfilled promises of democracy. Into this fraught terrain, a dangerous falsehood has been seeded and exported, the myth of a white genocide. More than just misinformation, this narrative is a calculative campaign to distort history, incite fear, and stall the country's progress towards justice and equality. The businessman claims of global figures like Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The white genocide narrative did not originate in Washington or Silicon Valley. Its roots lie deep within segments of white South African society, particularly among those who resist the erosion of apartheid-era privilege. It is now being repackaged and exported to sympathetic global audiences as a twisted justification for racial resentment and reactionary politics. The claim is simple but sinister that white South Africans, especially Afrikaner farmers, are victims of a targeted campaign of violence allegedly sanctioned by the black majority government. Proponents often cite farm attacks as evidence of ethnic cleansing, but the facts tell a different story. In 2024, South Africa recorded 26,232 murders across the country. Of this, only 44 were connected to farming communities, and just 8 were actual farmers. These figures, published by the South African Police Service, categorically dismantle any notion of an orchestrated genocide. South Africa's violent crime epidemic is tragically real, but it's not racially selective. The overwhelming majority of victims are Black South Africans, bearing the brunt of the country's ongoing socio-economic crisis. To single out white victims in the context is not only misleading, it is deeply manipulative. In a meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa, Donald Trump repeated the white genocide claim, saying there is a genocide occurring against white farmers. This was not a case of speaking truth to power, but of echoing a debunked conspiracy theory. South African courts, independent human rights observers, and the government have all found no evidence to support such claims. Elon Musk, arguably South Africa's most high-profile expatriate, has used his platform X to amplify these falsehoods by deploying his AI tool, Grok, to promote the narrative online. Elon lends an air of technological legitimacy to a baseless story. The damage is not only reputational, it's political. This is not simply a misunderstanding of the facts, it is a deliberate strategy to undermine South Africa's fragile progress by casting white South Africans as the new victims and portraying post-apartheid reform efforts as reverse racism. The myth attempts to rewrite history and discredit the country's democratic gains. In 2015, a white farmer submitted a petition to the United Nations accusing the ANC-led government of committing genocide against Afrikaners. The claim was dismissed outright as ludicrous in the extreme, yet it occurs the same dangerous trope that the once powerful are now oppressed, and that efforts to rectify historical injustice are themselves unjust. At the heart of this narrative is not concern for safety or human rights, it is refusal to let go of apartheid-era power and privilege. More than 30 years after the end of apartheid, white South Africans still control a disproportionate share of the country's land and wealth. Meanwhile, the majority, black South Africans, continue to face poverty, unemployment, and systematic exclusion. Despite this, organizations like AfroForum argue that corrective policies such as Black Economic Empowerment (BEE) constitute systematic racism against whites. They claim that South Africa now operates under Apartheid 2.0, a term Musk has echoed. These assertions are not only factually incorrect, they are morally bankrupt. BEE and similar policies were never about vengeance. They are imperfect but necessary tools designed to correct entrenched inequalities that apartheid left behind. Inequalities that still define much of South African life. Equating these efforts with the legalized brutality of apartheid is disingenuous. It is an attempt to equate justice with oppression, progress with persecution. AfroForum and its allies have also weaponized the language of minority rights, using terms like reverse racism to attack land reform, employment equity, and even the legitimacy of the democratic state itself. This is not the language of reconciliation, it is the language of regression. South Africa is indeed in crisis. The post-1994 dream of economic and social justice remains largely unfulfilled. Corruption, inefficiency, and poor governance have undermined the state's ability to deliver on promises of land reform, education, and basic services. The youth unemployment rate is staggering. Spatial segregation and economic inequality remain stubbornly intact. But these failures are not evidence of a campaign against white people. They are the bitter legacy of apartheid and shortcomings of a democratic government that has too often failed to deliver. The real victims of this crisis are millions of black South Africans who continue to endure its consequences daily. It is time for moral clarity. The white genocide claim is not just a lie, it is a moral obscenity. It insults the memory of those who suffered under apartheid and undermines the struggle of those still fighting for a better South Africa. To those who spread this falsehood, whether in Pretoria, Palo Alto, Washington, we must say your nostalgia for apartheid is not a private opinion, it is a public threat. You are not victims, you are the beneficiaries of a system built on exclusion and brutality. Your refusal to acknowledge that truth is a danger to democracy. South Africa does not need more fear-mongering or revisionism. It needs a recommitment to truth, justice, and transformation. This means holding leaders accountable for corruption and failure, but also resisting attempts to derail equity and reform under the guise of reverse racism. The work of building a truly just and equal South Africa remains unfinished. It is work that requires political courage, public honesty, and moral integrity. Let us be clear, there is no genocide against whites in South Africa. There is only the unfinished work of dismantling apartheid's legacy and building a country where all, regardless of race, can live in dignity and peace. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.